Three. Hi, and welcome to Career Counseling Online, the MindSet episode, the very first episode of Career Counseling Online, wherein we are going to talk every Wednesday with some promising entrepreneurs and solopreneurs. And it's not only about solopreneurs or entrepreneurs, we're going to talk to those professionals who could have chosen a different, comfortable path of their career, yet they chose a different, completely different path for the sake of a cause in the society, maybe, or for the cause of their passion for a particular subject. Today, our very first entrepreneur and solopreneur, as a guest, we have with us Poulomi from Mumbai, and she is the first entrepreneur that we're going to talk to, understand the mindset of an entrepreneur, the kind of journey that the entrepreneur embarks into. So welcome once again, Poulomi. Wonderful having you in the show.
Yeah, hi, Sanjay. It's a pleasure for me.
Yep. So Poulomi, we will straight away go to the series of questions which the viewers might be having in the mind whenever we have an entrepreneur on the hot seat. Let's say the very first question that I, being an entrepreneur myself, have been answering. The very first question is, what is this journey that this particular entrepreneur is into? What is this journey that Poulomi is into, and how is this journey defining Poulomi into a new kind of Poulomi?
Okay, so to start with, to tell you about the journey, we have to go back to my school days. So you can say the seed was sown when I was in school. Actually, when people used to write that I want to become a doctor, engineer, or anything, teacher, professor, I always used to write that my ambition is to become a journalist. Okay, so that dream I nurtured continuously, and after school, college, and then in university, in the first years of my university, I started doing internship in a English daily. It was a noted English daily. So I started my journalism career from there, and later, just after my final year exams of master's degree, I shifted to audiovisual media. I joined a noted audiovisual media channel. Okay, that was also as an intern. But just 2 or 3 months after that internship, you know better that I joined a leading Bengali news, you can say news magazine channel. It was very popular at that time during the 90s. It was a leading Bengali news magazine in Eastern India. So that was the start of my journalism career, you can say. And it was going on very smoothly. I was following my dreams, you can say. And till 2005, it was very good, you can say. Now, in 2005, things turned a bit because I got married and I shifted from Kolkata to Mumbai. So, shift in the city, shift in mindset, you can say shift in everything. In Mumbai also I started working in a production house. So for the first 2 years it was also smooth, but in 2007 I became a mother, and it was completely turnaround. I have to leave my job. We three were alone in this city, and I have to. There was no one to look after my daughter, so I have to leave my job, and it came to a standstill, you can say. I was enjoying my life as a homemaker, as a mother, but there was something missing in my life. There was something missing. I was happy, but what you can say, the core, I was a bit not satisfied or something like that. There was something. So, from 2007 it started, and for, you can say, for complete 10 years I did nothing. I was just at home. bits and pieces of documentary films or some content writing and here and there was happening, but that was not so, nothing very notable.
Mhm.
And in 2007, I thought that enough is enough. Now I have to start afresh.
Okay.
Something has to be done, and nothing else. And what can I do? I have to look after my daughter. So what can I do from home?
Mhm.
Joining a news media channel or a print house, it was not possible for me. So what I thought, what I can do best is to write. Okay. And so I started my own website, and it was Sportsavour. So what is Sportsavour? Now coming
Yes.
to that
Yes.
thing,
Mhm.
Sportsavour, and why Sportsavour?
Right.
Sportsavour is an online platform, online news portal, you can say, which deals with sports, but not with those regular kind of sports, but all unconventional, unknown,
Mhm.
and indigenous sports. The sport is a part of my life from a very early, you can say early
Right.
childhood, you can say, when we
Right.
won the 1983 World Cup. From that event, that from that event, I started following sport and every kind of sport, be it cricket, football, lawn tennis, table tennis, anything.
Right.
So it started from there. So sport was always an integral part of my life. I always wanted to write about sport, which I didn't do when I was a journalist. I didn't get that big actually to cover sports every time. So
Mhm.
it was always there to cover sports, and I thought that why not bring those unconventional, unknown sportsmen before people who can whose achievements get just unnoticed. Okay, so I thought, as an Indian, I'm a cricket buff. I follow cricket passionately, you can say. But
Okay.
I thought not to cover cricket in my website because cricket
Okay.
already has exposure, and
Mhm.
there's no need to expose to write about those people because people already know about it.
Right.
So I thought of bringing those sportspersons in front of the public. And I started how to start. Now, I was a complete zero in 2017 because I lost all the contacts for the last 10 years. There was no contact at all and everything. So, how I started was that I started searching in Facebook, obviously, the social media. I started to
Okay.
find a person, unknown person. I started messaging them. Whenever
Okay.
I got the phone numbers, contact numbers, I WhatsApp them, and then Facebook messengers and everything. So some responded, some didn't, and like this it happens. I started taking their interviews, and I started writing about them. And then after working for about 5 to 6 months, from January 2017, I started working, and I made my website public in from like June 10th or 12th, I think, 10th to 12th
Mhm.
June
Okay.
2007.
Okay.
For these 6 months, I worked, I wrote about them, I gathered information, research, time, investment. I investment time and patience there. So in this way, I started this, and today you can say it's 2020, 17, 18, 19, 20, 3 years have passed, almost 3 years, and
Okay.
I'll complete my 3 years, and it's going good. It's going good. People
Okay.
at least read my articles, and I'm a bit successful in bringing those posters in front of the public. So
Right. We will
this is
go.
how
We
it
will go
started.
into that part. We will absolutely go into that part. But
Yeah.
so far, let me because honestly speaking, Poulomi, the kind of inputs, the kind of journey that we just started speaking about the journey, but to me it appears that I was personally going through those 10 years of yours through the mind of an entrepreneur. Like, let me paraphrase what's we have gained so far from your side. Here is one young lady who is passionately into sports, like any kind of sports that one can think about, since school days, and as early as when, maybe the other girls of her age were playing with Barbie dolls. Now, here is one girl who's, having a passion about sports, So much so that when a general question as to what you want to be could have been answered as a childish babble, I would say
Yeah.
that here was one girl who was very, very, confirmed about what she wants to be. And the main thing is, she is today exactly what she wanted to be in a different conventional way. She said that she wanted to be a journalist, which she actually pursued through her field of studies, which we all know that from her background, from her educational qualification, she followed into those. She was into journalism, she was into communication, she was into English and literature and others. So she was basically preparing herself for a career. Now, Poulomi, as I know, without discussing the names of the brands and others, it's not only that you were working with one of the biggest, magazine. You were also working with the then biggest news channel of Bengal. None of the other news channel in Bengal was as successful as the one that you were in, and you were there for
You can
quite
say
a.
that that news channel defined news in West Bengal. You can say
Absolutely,
what
absolutely.
kind of defined.
The whole portfolio of news presentation, the kind of
Yeah,
technology used, and everything changed. And you were there for quite some time, if I'm not wrong, right? I'm like
yeah.
for quite some time spent. Now, here is one lady whose career is taking the new stride that she has always dreamt of as a journalist. And now, in the year 2005, she gets married. Not only married, she gets to move out of her comfort zone of her own hometown, of her own relatives, and of every friends that she has known. By that time, she has already had the news base or the contact base in Kolkata, and she was doing
Yeah.
absolutely successful. Now she moves to Mumbai, which is again a completely different new city with new different kind of demands from a person. Now, it must be very difficult from the perspective of the cultural aspect. Not only that, in 2007, she becomes a mother. Now, for a mother, she chooses her responsibility towards her child. Now, we always talk about in mindset that an entrepreneur cannot have a one track mind. An entrepreneur needs to juggle in between everything. You cannot say this is not my part or this is not exactly my responsibility, or you cannot say that, well, for that reason, this thing didn't happen. Now, here was Poulomi who was taking care of her daughter. And not only taking care, I wouldn't say that sacrificing the career because she's too humble not to disclose the kind of documentaries and the small works that she did, wherein she was completely into her field. She was mastering her skills into editing, she was into noise, she was into sound recording, she was into making small documentaries for a couple of projects, and she was doing her part of upgrading her skills also. So, for an entrepreneur, waiting for the right opportunity should not be the option. Constant preparation towards the journey. You know, I read somewhere in a book that sometimes the wrong train takes one to the right destination. So here she was in a city wherein there is work related to media, work related to news, and she is here carrying her CV with such a nice recommendation and skill sets. Yet she chooses to be a mother. She takes care of her daughter. And not only takes care, she takes care of her till 2017. Now that is whole 10 years. We need to understand
Yeah.
these 10 years. I can absolutely understand the kind of pain, I would say, of juggling in between culture, of juggling in between responsibility. And for those who do not know, with Poulomi's permission, I might disclose a bit. Her husband is also into heavy media house production, if I'm not wrong, right?
Yeah, he is a cinematographer
So that is
and
pretty.
travels most of the time.
Absolutely, that is the exact point that I wanted to bring up. That from what I know about him, most of the time he is in outdoor, and not outdoor means outdoor within Mumbai. He is sometimes shooting in Leh, sometimes in Ladakh, sometimes in very remote locations. And here is a mother who's juggling in between responsibilities, juggling in between the difference of language or difference of culture, and you know, also a back of the mind, her own passion for the sports is there. So, Poulomi, we have heard about Sportsavour. We have heard about
Yeah.
why Sportsavour, and this very point that you being a very ardent, passionate, follower of cricket, you didn't choose cricket. Had it been cricket, well, guys, we can all know that with cricket in India, I'm not trying to, do a black labeling or, a wrong word of mouth. Had it been for cricket, if she would have even sang a single line, also she would have been popular because cricket is the
Yeah.
religion of India. Yet she chooses a different path of talking about sports people and sports which are unconventional. Now, follow me. To you, the question is it a stunt to divert people's attention towards the cricket craziness that we have in India? Or is it the passion connecting you to those unrecognized sports person or sports in India? What is it?
Okay. It would have been very easy for me if I would have chosen cricket. Okay,
Mhm.
after 10 years of lapse and gap, you can say that it would have been very easy for me to choose
Right,
cricket and become popular.
right.
But I didn't do it
Mhm.
because I love sport. I'm passionate about sport and not
Okay,
a sports person or anything else. Okay, sports to me is a way of life. Okay, sport teaches us many things.
wonderful,
It can be
wonderful.
cricket, it can be football. Cricket, football makes us understand teamwork. Okay, individual sports like tennis or table tennis teach us how to become responsible.
Mhm.
So I love sport in that way, not any particular sports person or any cricketing shots or anything like that.
Right.
So
With your
when
permission, Paulavi, sorry to interrupt you. Like
yeah,
I need to add this input here. Like what Paulami is meaning, if I'm getting it right, Paulami, please correct me if I'm not. That you are not a generic viewer of sports. You are somebody who's deeply connected to the spirit of sports. Am I getting it correct?
exactly, absolutely right. The spirit of
Okay.
sport,
Okay.
that is the correct word. That is the
Yes,
spirit of
please.
sport.
Hmm.
There are so many sportsperson, so many forgotten heroes of ours whose achievement have just got unnoticed. So I wanted to deal with them only, so that people should know whatever my reach is, whatever I can do through my writing. That is the only thing I
Right.
can do. No, that is
Right.
the best way I can. So uh, through those writings, I just wanted to reveal them, to make them what to say, noticeable before audience or readers.
Exactly.
You can say
Exactly. Bringing them in the spotlight,
in
which is
yeah,
always booked by conventional sports like cricket and others. See,
yeah,
the spotlight is for the sports and the sports person, not for any particular sports. Because when we are doing that, we are simply advertising the sports. Now, when we talk about that, I believe, I believe we lack the spirit of sports. When we bring constantly, repeatedly a single sports to the spotlight, and when we highlight the sports person related to the sports, we are actually killing the spirit of sports, which very few countries, I'm not differentiating, very few countries, one of the country is India, wherein we have some diversified sports which are deeply rooted to the spirit of the sports. Each sports teaches everybody some discipline or other, but the other kind of conventional sports, when they are forgotten or though their sports people are forgotten, it is a complete injustice. And sports savior is bridging that gap in between that unconventional sports and that recognition. So Polumi, that brings me to the second question. So far, how's the journey? These 3 years, I know there are hardships, there are difficulties, which are a part of entrepreneurship. As I always mention very passionately, that entrepreneurship is not a romantic journey. This is a journey wherein you will have sleepless nights, wherein you cannot sleep because of the passion. So far, how's the journey of Sportsavour? We would like to hear.
Yeah, yeah. Actually, Sanjay, what can I say that you can say what can be what was the investment from the
Mhm.
investment point of view? You can say there was no huge money involved in this. It was just things from inside, and it was not too much. But what was the investment? My time and
Exactly,
my
exactly,
patience. My
exactly.
patience. So, as I said that I lost all contacts on those 10 years.
Mhm.
People just forgot me.
Right.
I was a journalist, just people forgot me. So, what I had to do, I had to just go back to those days, to those contacts. I have to find out those contacts and take the people's numbers. As I said, the Facebook
Right.
messengers,
Right.
WhatsApp, these things. So it all started like that, and then people responded. I started interviewing them, and it was such a satisfaction for me. You can say
Fantastic.
that I was
Mhm.
doing exactly what I wanted to do
What you
again.
wanted to do. Right. Right.
Again, it started. My journey started again. So I enjoyed writing. I enjoyed taking people's interviews. I enjoyed finding out new sports, and I
Right.
found out so many new sports in India.
Mhm.
So unconventional sports. So
Right.
researching about them, it was too good, and it satisfied me to the fullest, you can say. So it was so these 3 years have been not long, but very satisfying journey for me. And now people have started recognizing me a bit, you can say. I can
Mhm.
at least approach people now. People know me by the brand name of Sportsavour a bit. When I say I'm calling from Sportsavour, okay, it's okay. So they at least
Okay.
respond. So this thing, and now there is some people in the different cities who are working for me. They're working as freelancers. Okay,
Freelancers.
but
Mhm.
they're working. Yeah, they're working for me. They send me news reports or any kind of articles.
Right.
So in this way, the journey is going on, and it's good. It's going good now. So
Okay.
it's
I,
brilliant
I,
now,
I
you can
remember
say.
I remember Poulomi, like when you were speaking about the unconventional sports and the other kind of sports that you were trying to cover. I remember, I don't know if you remember. I remember that coverage of yours on skateboarding. If I'm getting it correct, long time back, I had the show. I had the video clippings wherein you were covering was it called skateboard? What is this called? I think it was
Uh,
skateboard in
yeah,
or
yes,
roller
skating,
skates.
skating.
Skating.
I think you are saying about the Nicholas Tapane,
Exactly,
skater.
exactly.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, yeah.
Before this, Poulomi, I am just correct me. Before this, I never saw this to be covered from any angle by any channel, like the
Mm,
conventional news channels. I've never seen
mm,
something like forget about Bengal. I'm not talking about Bengal. Forget about Mumbai. I never seen something being covered because the only way I could see skateboarding or roller skates things was on YouTube, which was like people doing wow and wow in videos which were shot from US and other countries. But in India, we have such good talents with roller skates and
yeah,
skateboards. It got never
yeah,
covered. So this
yeah.
was most probably
Another thing I
two
want to
years.
say about the
Yes,
about the indigenous sports. You know, we all know about Gilli Danda. Gilli Danda,
yes, yes, yes.
what we played. Okay. So
Mhm.
you know that we have a federation of Gilli Danda in India, and it is being played regularly. There's a federation who conducts tournaments and everything,
No, I'm
and
not
there is
aware.
an
I'm
Asian
not aware.
federation also. Yeah.
Wow, that's
So
so enlightening.
I covered that thing. There are new sports like, yeah, there are new sports. There are certain hybrid sports like new ball is a sport. Okay,
Mhm.
it's a mixture of basketball, handball, and everything. There is
Right.
pickleball. It's a mixture of table tennis, and badminton. There is rope skipping. What we used to just enjoy in
In
our
the school
childhood
days.
days, that rope
Right, right,
skipping. So
right.
there, yeah, in my school days. So there is a federation of rope skipping. So all
Wow.
these new sports are there. So many things are there. So that that is the thing. So there are so many new things which you can bring forward.
Right. Oh, great. Okay. So follow me as we were talking about the journey so far. So I understand Sportsavia uh, has provided that platform to you on a mental basis that you were doing what you were passionate about. You were passionate about sports and the spirit of sports. And you have been successful so far in covering unconventional sports and bringing in many sports person who generally does not get to see that kind of recognition of the sports or them. Now, this brings me to the third question, which sometimes gets me, honestly speaking, when asked, this question gets very uncomfortable to me. What is the scope of expansion of Sportsavia? Like right now, you mentioned that you have some freelancers who are working with Sportsavia, and you are also working, day in, day out. And one thing I would like to just add, like when you mentioned about the investment, see, as you mentioned, you were a bit humble in saying, see, we are not talking about monetary investment. You were mentioning your hard work and only your, passion or your patience. But what I understand, we cannot but forget that 10 years of waiting for that passion to come out in a way wherein, see, please don't take it otherwise.
Yeah,
10
yeah,
years, this 10 years, after this 10 years, you could have had much more recognition or much more, I would say, easy success if you would have covered cricket. Yet, after 10 years, you chose unconventional sports. So, that brings me to the third question for you. What is the scope of expansion of Sports Savior in, let's say, next 5 years? What kind of, expansion you're thinking of?
yeah. The first and foremost thing is that after 3 years, from January, you can say January this year, 2020, I started thinking a bit, you can say, as an entrepreneur.
Okay.
What was that? So I thought of now passion is always there. Obviously, it will always be writing and everything, researching about the things, giving interviews about sportsperson. These are all things okay.
That
But
is
how to improve, but expand, you can say. So
exactly.
expansion first and foremost thing is that as I have said that some people are now sending me articles. Some people are doing type of freelancing for my website. Okay,
Okay.
so number one, so that has increased my traffic a bit because they are covering more sports. They are giving more articles. Before that, as I was doing alone, I was there alone. So it has the article, the rate of article the publishing of the articles has increased. Okay, so that is
Mhm.
the one more that which has helped my website to grow more, to attract more traffic, you can say, first and
Okay.
foremost.
Okay.
Second is that now I thought that how to expand more about how to digitally expose the things, the name, how to digitally place the brand in the market. Okay,
Right.
so uh,
Right.
okay, so I thought of doing a digital marketing type of thing. You could say that happens in every website, to
Okay.
be very precise. And the organic traffic obviously is there, but
Okay.
we have to do a bit of digital marketing. And for that, I also learned the digital marketing course myself. And I started, and someone else is also doing those things. So this is the second point, expansion,
Okay.
you can say, so that people know more about my article. As you also know how important digital marketing is, how
Right.
to put the brand digitally. Okay,
Right.
so more people are now aware about that Sportsavour. The third thing is that now I started making small videos. Okay, video inputs are there. Okay, so I think videos are always better than people notice more that thing, a video. When the people see, watch or see So
Right.
that impact of that is for always, because I when I worked in audio visual media, I work both in audio visual and print media, and I know the impact of audio visual is always more than the print media. So
Right.
so I started making small videos about those everything, 2 to 3 minutes or 30 seconds, 1 minute video about sportsmen or
Hmm.
any sports. So I started making those videos and started to put them in my website. The third and fourth, you can say I already started doing events under the banner of Sportsavour. I already organized, you can say, uh, three yeah, three events under the banner
Could you
of
just
two
brief us a bit about the
pickle.
events? Could you just brief a bit about those
Yeah,
events?
yeah,
We would like the
yeah.
viewers to
Yeah.
hear about those. Mhm.
Yeah, I organized two pickleball events, women's pickleball events. You can
Okay.
say the All India Women's Pickleball event that happened in one in 2018 December, and the next happened in 2019 October. There were two events, first and second edition. Then I organized a shooting event, okay? A school
Okay.
level shooting event. Yeah. So like this, I now this COVID and everything has just stopped all the things, but
Mhm.
gradually I am trying to invest my time and energy in those events, because these events are very good in bringing people's attention to the unknown type of sports. Okay, so because they get, sometimes they get media coverage also. Uh, so
Right.
this is
Right.
a fourth thing that I am doing right now, stepping into events. So there are certain other plans and programs also, like what you can see. Uh, I am thinking of making small documentaries on these sports events and everything,
Yes.
or sportsmen. So these are the things, these are the kinds of plans and programs I have, and for the future. So
Right. Right.
like
Follow
this,
me.
it is expanding a bit.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. That is that I was just listening to those, and that brings me to my fourth question to you. Like we, when we are working or when we are in a profession, we generally talk in terms of our designation. Like, let's say, if I am an operation head, I am somebody who's working into operation. I try to limit, that is our limitation. I try to limit my scope of deliverables within operations. Now, here is Poulomi, who's a mother. Your daughter must be by this time in standard A7 or 8, right?
Class, yeah, eight. She's in
Standard
class 8.
8. So
Yeah.
standard 8, I understand that she has a demanding curriculum for the studies. Apart from that, your husband is into media house production. For that, he's traveling constantly. So, with this, mother and playing the role sometimes of a father also, covering sports savior, talking to sports person, talking to media person, and at the same time continuing the passion of writing the blogs, making the small videos. Like, is this a kind of message that should be taken by professionals wherein they limit themselves to a single role? Here is one person who's playing so many roles and yet delivering. So, do you believe that entrepreneurs set up an example of multitasking? And if so, what is the kind and how do you do the role handling? Because each role is different. Like a mother's role cannot be fulfilled by somebody who's writing the blog, or the blog person cannot be fulfilled by somebody who's interviewing the sports person. So this each diversified role is demanding different kind of responsibility. So you as a single person, you as an entrepreneur, how do you juggle in between? If I can use that word, how do you juggle in between these roles, yet you're delivering with that passion every day? How is it possible?
Very simple, I think, Sanjay, and it's all about time management. That is the only word I can say. Time management. If you can, if you have that kind of passion in you, that you have to do. The role of a mother, the role of a homemaker, I cannot avoid. Obviously, it's my responsibility. It will always be with me. Okay. Sportsavour can, at a certain point of time, can exist or not exist, but I will be a wife. I will be a mother for always. That's the thing. So that responsibility and that love I cannot avoid, and that will always remain, as I have said. But Sportsavour is another part of my life. Okay, so that part, if you can manage your time when you will do it, just you have to manage the time. So it will be easy then. It's easy then to just follow your dreams and everything.
Right. So, Poulomi, if I may summarize this, like when we are talking about handling roles, you are specifically putting stress on time management. And at the same time, you are putting stress that you should have that zeal in you to follow that passion with which you have come on the road, following your work. So here is time management. The second is your passion. And third, may I add to that that you need to have a dream somewhere to do something for others, a vision beyond myself. Can we add that point? Like for your instance, it would have been much easier for cricket and your recognition. Yet, you wanted to bring to the spotlight those people who are never covered by the conventional news channels or the media channels. So, along with your time management, along with your passion, is it a vision that drives the
Yeah,
entrepreneur?
yeah, yeah. Yes, without and I still have that dream of being better and better each day. So dream is always there, but how did you address this dream? And dream and everything. So that is not the answer to follow your dream. Okay, so you should you know how to achieve, how to achieve it means how to manage the time, as I have said.
Right, right. So, Polome, with this, we would like to know what is your message to the young entrepreneurs or to any entrepreneurs who embarks into a difficult path of uncertainty? Because here we are not talking about something very rosy. Here we are not talking about something which is very certain. The road of entrepreneurship is completely filled with uncertainty. So, you being a mother, you being a wife, you being a journalist yourself, you had your share of your career. So, all this, when it boils down, what would be your message to those who are embarking? Because we need to understand there was an uptide of entrepreneurship in India. But now with the COVID-19 pandemic happening, a lot of people might be trying that, okay, I might have been not so good in terms of my work. Is it the right time for me to move on as an entrepreneur? Because my passion was not aligned. So maybe this is the high time when I can embark into a journey where I can follow the passion. So, what is your message to those kind of entrepreneurs who are embarking into this journey of uncertainty?
Yeah, actually, this COVID is a COVID has taught us many things also. What is that? This is a time when you can think about yourself, what you can do. This time you can think about yourself, what you can do, and how you can. This is a time. Those 10 years of mine, you understand? Those 10 years of mine. That what I want to do, what I have to do. So this COVID time for the young entrepreneurs can be a learning period about what they can do, how they can do, and obviously they have to think about themselves and don't get disappointed. Sometimes it feels very frustrating sitting at home and getting depressed, but that's not I told the solution. You have to think what you can do, and after this COVID, after this last, you have to put them in paper, and then you have to act. And that is the thing. Don't get depressed, frustrated, whatever is happening. You have some depressing kind of economy is down, and what I will do. These things are nothing. Just concentrate on your thoughts, concentrate on your dreams, and just use this COVID period as a learning. Okay, and then look at this.
Yes. Poulomi, just a small thing. We are getting a bit of a feed from your side. Apart from that, the voice is clear. But let me summarize. Let me summarize what Poulomi has mentioned here. See, the COVID-19 situation is pretty depressing. We need to understand that. But this is something that we could not have avoided, right? But what you are mentioning is to take advantage of this time when we are locked down and our external activity is somewhat limited, to use it as a thought process, to use it as an analysis of what I really want to do, my passion, and what I want to contribute as. Now, Poulomi, what that brings me to this understanding is, see, an entrepreneur can never be put down irrespective of the condition. Is that what you're mentioning?
Yeah, obviously. Don't get depressed and frustrated, as I have always said. It's just a learning period.
Good. So the moment we move into this episode of learning, we become constantly a seeker, and a seeker is never satisfied unless he actually finds the next things to seek. So for Poulomi, like if we can summarize again, like there were many sports, and the kind of sports that she uncovered today, honestly, Poulomi, I was not aware. Many of our viewers must be aware, but I was not aware of this kind of federations which has been established, and they are doing a wonderful job. And Sportsavour covering these events or bringing this information, this news, to the viewers is a great scope for us to understand sports in a way that is being played in India with the spirit. We're not talking about how many audience you have, what kind of stadium it is being played, but the spirit of the game. So Poulomi, with that, that is a wonderful message. Like here you are talking about not being laid down, not being depressed, because 10 years, we need to understand 10 years when she could have actually went outside and gained a career, because the kind of recommendations or the kind of work experience that she carries in her CV, I'm sure that in a city like Mumbai, wherein so many channels are working, so many news channels are working, she could have cut a nice niche out of herself. She could have had a wonderful, successful life in a different dimension altogether, different direction. Yet, she kept this passion inside her, the passion for sports. And the passion has brought those sports person also to spotlight. Now, this is a wonderful job that Sportsavour is doing. We will be sharing Sportsavour website and other addresses in our description also. We would request on behalf of Career Counseling Online for everyone, because I have visited that website myself. The site is updated with complete information about sports. There is so much to read, there is so much to watch. And honestly, guys, I'm not talking again in negative about cricket. We had enough of this. When is it going to be a time when we join in understanding the other kind of games? Because when we are ignoring those games, we are actually ignoring the sports person. When we are ignoring the sports person along with the sports, honestly speaking, the Indian sports spirit is put down. Now that will bring me to the end of this discussion. But I have a round of questions, Poulomi, wherein you answer only with one word. It's going to be a rapid fire. So, who has been motivating you ever since? Could be anybody, but it could be one person.
Steffi Graf.
Wonderful.
One person, one and only Steffi Graf.
Somehow I knew the answer to this question. I could have scored 100 out of 100 out of this question. That's very fantastic. Steffi Graf, and the way she has inspired totally. And I understand
Yeah.
the kind of passion. We are talking about a sports lady with tons of spirit about sports, passion about sports, and that has somehow been embarked into Poulomi. Okay, what is the book that you're reading right now?
It's
And
Open by Andre Agassi. Open, his
again,
autobiography.
again, we are
Yeah,
talking about
Andre,
sports.
yeah, obviously.
That is fantastic. That
And
is fantastic.
and Agassi was also related to Steffi Graf.
Absolutely, absolutely. Who can forget those wonderful couple? Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when we talk about success, Poulomi, is it the hard way or is it the easy way for you?
Uh, it's an easy way, I think. If you think it's hard, then it's hard, but it's always easy.
Okay.
But what I will say is that success and failure doesn't matter. Success and failure doesn't matter. It's a try and try. Try for whatever you want to do. That's the thing.
We can all agree to Poulomi, a lady who's so passionately into sports that this is the kind of answer that we would be receiving from him, from her in terms of the answer that try and try, because here is one person who's inspired by sports, and in sports that is exactly what it is. Today you might be the World Cup winner. Next, World Cup you might not even come in the first round of finals also. So. What are the 5 habits which defines Poulomi? What are the 5 habits which defines Poulomi?
Uh, Hardworking, habit, you can say, or characteristic.
We would put it to habit characteristics. We have it in a different format. What is the kind of 5 habits? Like, it could be anything. Could be related to your leisure time, could be related to your work procedure,
Okay.
could be related to your
So
personal life.
it's first habit is researching about new things. Number one. Number two is reading, obviously. Number three, you can say watching sports, obviously, whenever I get time. And number four is I can work throughout the day if given. Sometimes I'm laid back, you can say, but I can work throughout the day. And I what I can say.
What is the other side of
Yeah,
Poulomi?
I learned many things. I learned many things from my daughter too. I learned many things from my daughter. That is a kind of habit. Because she is into Western music and everything, I learned many things from her. So that is a habit, also you can say, learning new things from them, from my family members.
Yes, that is exactly what I was trying to derive into. That see, when we are talking about entrepreneurs might appear sometimes as very erratic, sometimes might appear as very out of logic, sometimes appears not very logical. But the thing is, entrepreneurs are also deeply rooted to their family. That is exactly what I wanted to hear, Paulavi. Now, uh, what is what is your biggest fear?
Biggest?
Fear,
No, not doing anything.
being unproductive, you mean to say?
Yeah, obviously.
Great, great. What makes Poulomi angry?
Yeah, I'm a bit short-tempered. Any kind of when people are very snobbish, you can say, and I'm just straightforward, very straightforward, and I don't like people who don't write the point or something like that. Then
We understand.
that
We
kind of
understand.
thing I don't like at all.
We understand. I believe this is also one trait of characteristics which has been molded by sports, that true sports people are not snobs. They're hard workers, they're disciplined people. And there is very less space for snobism into one's life. So Very well said, Pauline. That is very well said. Now, the last question that I might ask: if given a chance to change one thing in your life, what would that be?
Very difficult. What stage is life actually? Every period of my life, the learning experience, I learned everything. Like food and foreign that I am and I learned. So I don't think I need to change.
Right. So, what you're trying to say, if I may add my words, is that every stage of one's life makes one come to the point of realization. Like if you are thinking of entrepreneurship today, or if you're thinking on embarking on a difficult journey, it is not a 1 month or 2 month thought. It has been ever since your spirit. It has been always into it. So there is nothing an entrepreneur wants to go back and change, because
Yeah.
he or she is always looking forward to make a change in the society. So there is nothing that they want to change in their past. Rather, like Poulomi, she's changing the new scenario of the sports with the new unconventional sports being covered. Now that is what we are talking about. Going forward and changing, going ahead and living for others. That is the kind
Yeah.
of change that entrepreneurs think of. Fantastic, Poulomi. This is exactly what my intention was with the mindset program, to go into the deep valleys of the mind of an entrepreneur, to understand their thinking, because entrepreneurs are many a times misunderstood as being irrational, as being somebody who's not logical. Like, see, in overall whole meeting, whole conversation that we had, we can tell very, very clearly that Poulomi had a very nice chance of monetizing her career, of monetizing her CV, of monetizing her experience, yet she chooses to make this difference in others' lives, because that is the spirit of sports. That is the spirit of sports, what is being taught. That is the passion which drives the entrepreneur. So, Poulomi, on behalf of Career Counseling Online, I would like to thank you so much. This first episode has been really an enriching one, and it is such a nice topic to talk about. I wish we could have talked about
It
sports
was such
and
a
right, right.
pleasure for me, Sanjay.
Mhm.
And you have chosen me for the first episode of Mindset. Thank you for that very much.
So, on the parting note, is there anything that the entrepreneurs needs to believe in their mind? If that there is one thing that they really need to believe, because as entrepreneurs we believe in a lot of things. If there is one characteristic that you can go, let us know as a parting, I would say as a parting gift to entrepreneurs, that they should keep in their mind always, they cannot forget it ever. 24 by 7, 365 days, they need to have that one thing in their mind. What is that be? What would that be?
It will be pain is temporary. Pain is temporary, uh, but success is your choice.
Fantastic. I believe nothing can, cover this golden statement. Pain is temporary and success is your choice. Like, this is so fantastic. And this is a wonderful way of closing our session today. Follow me once again on behalf of Career Counseling Online. I really, really thank you for your time today. And we wish Sportsavour all the success that it deserves. Because when an entrepreneur as hardworking and as visioned as you, because the way you chose the sports, that shows your vision, that shows the mission of Sportsavour. We wish Sportsavour all the success. We wish you all the
Thank you so
success.
much. Thank you so much.
And we would want you to come and talk to other entrepreneurs some other day from others' perspective,
Yeah,
inspired by
definitely.
sports, inspired by sports, because as an entrepreneur, we are always facing dark days. So we would like to hear how great sports person or the growth personality that you meet, how they meet their failures, how they rise again, and how they make success their choice. With that note today, from Career Counseling Online, we sign off today, wishing everybody all the best. And as we always mention, learn, contribute, and evolve. It's nice talking to you, Poulomi. All
Thank
the
you.
best.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.